From the newly previewed Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba anime, to the recently revealed My Hero Academia movie plot, and a whole lot of other new previews and announcements in between, I'm your host, Anime Sam, and this is AniNews. So welcome back to another news episode, ladies and gentlemen, and as I just recently stated, a whole bunch of new anime adaptations were recently announced. I mean like damn near 20. But of course, I've narrowed it down to a smaller list of what I think you would all be more interested in. Before that though, I did put Magical Index Season 3 in the title, so you probably want to know right away the release date of it. And I don't want to make you wait till the end when I make the rest of the announcements, so here it is now. According to the most recent issue of Dengeki Bunko magazine, a certain Magical Index Season 3 is scheduled to premiere this upcoming October. Okay, there we go. Now hopefully you'll stick around to see what other new shows are coming out. So as always, let's jump straight into the new previews, starting with the one that's been stirring up the most hype, Kimetsu no Yaiba. Although it was just a short 25-second teaser announcement, we did get one small clip that highlights the work of the studio behind it. That being said, there are two reasons that I would expect this show to become popular. One is that the studio adapting it is ufotable, and two is that it's a Shonen Jump manga. So we already know that we can set the bar pretty high with ufotable. After all, they did bless us with Fate. And we've already seen what happens when a pretty competent studio gets to adapt a Shonen Jump manga. The results usually turn out to be pretty good. Regardless of whether it's good or not though, you can definitely expect this show, along with The Promised Neverland, to become fairly mainstream once they air. If the past seasons have shown us anything, it's that if it's a Shonen Jump adaptation, then there's already an audience for it. Honestly though, I know the manga's already rated fairly highly, but I'm probably just going to end up watching it for the animation regardless. Like, even though the Tales of Zestiria anime was extremely boring, I still forced myself to sit through it just because of how nice it looked. But speaking of Shonen Jump anime, we recently got a full announcement preview for the upcoming Promised Neverland anime as well, and I really liked how they showcased this trailer. They pretty much made it into one of those motion manga videos on YouTube. But since I did cover the announcement of this series back in a previous video, I'll leave a link to that along with one to this trailer in the description below so you can go check it out for yourself. Next on the list of previews is a new one for Studio Mappa's Banana Fish. You know, the supposed shoujo anime that should probably not have any right being labeled as so since it deals with some pretty mature stuff. But if you want to watch it for yourself and find the shoujo elements that are in it, then you can check it out when it premieres on July 6th. Then there's that upcoming Grand Blue anime that I totally thought was going to be about diving because of how deceptively elegant that the initial preview was, but boy was I wrong. If you're looking for something like Manchu, then yeah, you're probably not going to find it here. And while we're on the topic of anime that look absolutely ridiculous, we recently got a preview for the upcoming Backstreet Girls anime. And this could honestly be the next greatest thing since Prison School, or just another trashy show that we'll completely disregard as the season goes on. Honestly, I'm not sure how I feel about three dudes getting a sex change to become idols so that they can avoid having to commit seppuku, but hey, at least it's original. In other previews, we got this summer's harem coming from Studio Feel called Island. Based on the visual novel of the same name, the story is about some guy supposedly from the future who washes up on the shore of an island. The island's residents have pretty much excommunicated themselves from the rest of the world due to a falling out with the three Grey families that pretty much run everything. So it's up to this guy, who don't forget is from the future, to deal with these three girls, one from each of the top families, and try to change the island's fate. You know what though, based on the tone of the trailer, this might not actually be your typical run-of-the-mill harem. Like, it seems like there's some actual plot to be found here. But we'll find that out soon enough once it airs this July. Yet another summer anime that we got a new preview for was Happy Sugar Life. And honestly, I have no idea how to explain this one. It just looks weird. All I know is that it's being adapted from the manga of the same name, and apparently the main character is really psycho for the person she likes. But I don't think it's the yandere type of psycho. I think it's a new type of crazy love altogether. If you're familiar with it, then go ahead and try to explain it better in the comments below. Then we've got another relatively interesting vampire hunting series coming next season. This one called Sirius the Jaeger. But the way that they previewed this show was by doing an individual trailer for both the Jaegers and the vampires, which leads me to think that the style of show that we're getting is going to be like a more historical version of Tokyo Ghoul. Not only in the sense that you could just sub out CCG for Jaegers and ghouls for vampires, but because they're going to show the story from both the perspective of the hunters and the hunted. Also, the Jaegers do carry around their weapons in instrument cases, so yeah, there's that too. And finally, we got the first full trailer for the upcoming Shiki Oriori movie. If you remember from a couple news episodes back, I had actually clickbaited this as the follow-up to Your Name, which isn't entirely wrong since it's being done by Comics Wave Films, but if you want to know what exactly makes this upcoming anthology film so special, then go ahead and watch the first bit of that one because I go more into the 3 stories that make it up as well as the people behind it. From what I can tell though, it looks to be the most promising anime film of this summer, excluding the My Hero Academia one of course, but I'm definitely okay with having high hopes for it. Speaking of the My Hero Academia movie, the release date for that was recently announced as August 3rd. That was up until the Anime Expo Twitter just announced that the world premiere will be at their event on July 5th. And since I'm actually lucky enough to go to said event, you best believe that I'll be making an appearance in that lineup. You already know that I'm preparing myself to line up for 4 to 5 hours just to get a seat that's within vision range of the screen showing the movie. That being said though, what exactly is this movie about? As I'm sure you already know, the movie is its own original story, and we recently just got some more information regarding the plot, which I'll share with you now. It takes place after the finals and before the training camp arc, so basically between Season 2 and Season 3. Deku and All Might get an invite to go to this event that's called iExpo, and this event showcases the year's latest research in quirk and hero research. It's sort of like the hero version of E3. Then big shock here, the island is attacked by villains through a massive cyber attack that hacks through the island's super secure security systems and essentially takes all the guests hostage. The synopsis also mentions that the person this will revolve around is All Might, so perhaps we'll get a closer look into his past, one that hasn't already been revealed in the manga. But anyway, you can expect me to be doing a full spoiler-free review of the actual movie once I come back from LA on July 10th. Then in other anime announcements, new anime in the making are the comedy manga How Clumsy You Are Ueno-san, game manga Naka no Hito Genome, mobile game Shumetsu Toshi which is being done by Madhouse, psychological comedy romance manga Kaguya-sama Love is War, and light novel Girly Air Force. Then there were also 2 new anime films recently announced, including a 3D CG Monster Strike one coming from Studio Orange, the guys who made Land of the Lustrous, so you already know that one will look absolutely beautiful. And that's pretty much all the news that I got for you today. Be sure to let me know in the comments what you think that you're the most hyped for. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this type of anime news content, then you already know what to do. So until next time, ciao!